Hello everyone, I'm Evelina Hutagalong and today I'm gonna talk about modal verbs. Modal verbs are an essential part of grammar, especially for expressing possibility, necessity, permission, ability, and future plans. By the end of this presentation, I hope you will understand what modal verbs are, the most common of modal verbs and their meanings, special rules for modal verbs, how to use them in sentences, tips and mistakes to avoid. Let's begin. Modal verbs are helping verbs that come before the main verb to add special meaning. They are used to express possibility, ability, obligation, advice, and future intention. The structure of modal verbs is subject plus modal plus base verb. The most common modal verbs are can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should, must, ought to. For example, in sentences, the first is subject. The subjects in English are I, we, you, they, she, he, it. I can swim. We can swim. You can swim. They can swim. She can swim. He can swim. And it can swim. So modal verbs are followed by the base form of the verb, also called infinitive without to. Let's take a closer look at some of the most common modal verbs and how we use them in daily life. Okay, modal can. We use can to talk about someone's ability to do something. For example, I can speak English. And we use can to ask for or give permission. For example, can I go out? And we use modal can to talk about possibility. For example, it can rain later. And the second, we use modal could to talk about past ability. For example, I could swim when I was 5. And we use could to express polite request. For example, could you help me please? And we use could to talk about possibility. For example, it could be true. We use modal verb may to ask for or give permission. For example, may I use your laptop? And we use may to talk about possibility. For example, it may rain today. Next, the modal verb might. When we are not sure 100%, we can say she might come. Maybe yes, maybe no. And the modal verb will. When we make an offer, we can say I will help you carry your bag. Next, we use will to make an instant decision. For example, I will have a cup of tea. And we can use will to make a promise. For example, I will clean my room today. And we use the modal verb would. We use would to express or talk about polite request. For example, would you like some tea? And we use modal verb would to talk or express imaginary situation. For example, if I had money, I would go. Or I would go if I had money. And next, we use would to talk about past habits. For example, when I was 7, I would visit my grandma. Next modal verb is shall. Shall is an expression or to give recommendation or suggestion. For example, shall I get pizza for dinner tonight? And we use shall to make an offering. For example, shall I open the window? And next, we use should. Should is an expression to give an advice. For example, you should study more. And we use it to express expectation. For example, he should be home by now. Next modal verb is must. Must is an expression, strong obligation or rule. And this is very important. For example, he must wear a seatbelt while driving. And we use must to express necessity. For example, they must leave immediately. Next word is ought to. This is an expression, moral obligation. For example, you ought to be honest. This is a bit more formal. Now, let's look at more examples by function. We use can or could to talk about ability or permission. For example, she can speak 3 languages. And when my sister was 8, she could run very fast. Next, we use may or might to talk about possibility. For example, it may rain later, so bring an umbrella. Next, he might be at home right now. And we use should or ought to give an advice. For example, you should drink more water. And we ought to respect our parents. Next, we use must, should. We use this to talk about obligation. For example, you must be quiet at the library. Next sentence, you should tell your friend the truth. And then we use will, would, shall to talk about future or politeness, to express politeness. For example, I will call you tomorrow. This is future plans. And next, would you like to drink some coffee? We offer something to other. And shall we begin the meeting? The sentence is mostly British English. Now that we have talked about the meanings and uses of modal verbs, let's continue by learning how to use modal verbs in different sentence types: positive sentences, negative sentences, and questions. First, positive sentences. In a positive sentence, the pattern is very simple. That is, subject, modal verb, plus base verb of the main verb. Let me give you some examples. I can swim. We have modal can, and after modal verb, we use base verb of the main verb. Next, she should study for the test. We use modal should and the base verb of the main verb, study. Next, we might go to the cinema. We use might as a modal verb, and after that, base verb of the main verb, that is go. And next example, they will arrive soon. We use modal will and then base verb of the main verb, arrive. Okay, so notice that the verb after the modal is always in the base verb. Swim, study, go, arrive, no as, no to, and no ing. Next, negative sentences. For negative sentences, just add not after the modal verbs. The structure is subject plus modal verb plus not plus base verb. Here are some examples. I cannot drive. He should not be late. She will not attend the class. You can also use contractions to sound more natural. Cannot becomes can't. Should not become shouldn't. Will not become won't. Next part is questions. To make questions with modal verbs, just move the modal verb to the front. The structure is modal plus subject plus past verb. Examples: can you help me? Should I bring my laptop? Will they join us? Could we start earlier? These are yes or no questions, but you can also ask by using WH questions. The structure is WH question plus modal plus subject and plus base verb. Okay, for example, what should I do? When can we meet? Why must she leave so early? Let's review all three types using the modal can. In the positive sentence, she can play the guitar. In the negative sentence, she cannot play the guitar. In the question sentence, can she play the guitar? See how simple the pattern is. Modal, past verb, and no need for do, does, or did. Modals take care of the sentence structure by themselves. That's how we work positive, negative, and question sentences using modal verbs. Let's continue to the next part. Now, let's talk about the rules for using modal verbs in sentences. Modal verbs like can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must, and ought to are used to express things like ability, permission, advice, necessity, and more. To use them correctly, there are some important grammar rules we need to follow. Rule 1. Use the base verb of the main verb. For example, she can speak English fluently. We don't say she can speak English fluently. So, speak is the best form after a modal verb. We don't change the verb. Rule number 2. Modal verbs never change form. Modals stay the same for all the subjects, no matter if the subject is I, you, he, or they. The modal doesn't change. Example: he can play the guitar. They can play the guitar. They are correct. It's always just can, not can't or can't. Next, rule number 3. Do not use to after modal verbs. Most modal verbs are followed directly by the base verb, no to. For example, you must finish your homework, not you must to finish your homework. However, there are a few exceptions like you ought to study harder, I have to go to work early. Next part is special rules and tips for modal verbs. Tip 1. Modal verbs never change form. The first rule is modal verbs do not change ever. That means we don't add s, no add s in the third person, and we don't add ed for the past or ing for continuous form. For example, she can speak English. It's incorrect. But the correct sentence is she can speak English without s. And whether the subject is I, you, he, or they, the model stays exactly the same. The second tip is never use double models. Okay, in English, we never use two models together. That's called a double model, and it's incorrect. For example, I might can help you. It's incorrect. The correct one is I might be able to help you. If you want to use two ideas like possibility plus ability, you can say I might be able to help. And the second example, he may have to leave early. So instead of two models, use a model plus a phrase like be able to or have to. The third tip, use model plus have plus past participle to talk about the past. Modal verbs are usually for the present or future, but we can also use them to talk about the past. The structure is modal, modal plus have plus past participle. Here are some examples. He should have studied. He should have studied. And next example, I could have won the game. I could have won the game. And next example is they might have forgotten to call. They might have forgotten. To call. Okay, this structure helps express past possibilities, regrets, and missed opportunities. For example, she must have been tired means we are sure she was tired in the past. So, to summarize the special tips, the first is modals never change verb, no s, no ed, or no ing. The second, never use two modals together. Use modals plus be able to or use have to instead. The third, use modal plus have past participle to talk about the past. Keep this in mind to speak more naturally and avoid common grammar mistakes. Let's take a quick look at some common mistakes English learners often make when using modal verbs. Understanding this will help you avoid them in your speaking and writing. Mistake 1. Using to after a modal verb. Many learners add to after a modal, but that's incorrect. Look at this example. He can to drive. He can to drive. Okay, it is wrong sentence. The correct sentence is he can drive without to. Remember, most modals are followed directly by the base verb no to in the middle. For example, she might come later. We must finish this now. Mistake 2. Using two modal verbs together. Okay. Another mistake is using two modals in the same sentence like this. I might will go. This is wrong sentence. The correct sentence is I might go or I will go. We only use one modal verb at a time. If you need a combination of ideas like possibility and obligation, use expression like he might have to leave early or she could be able to help you. Mistake 3. Using modal verbs in continuous or perfect tense. Modals are not used with ing or perfect verb forms directly. Okay, for example, she can going to school. This is wrong. The correct sentence is she can go to school. Don't add ing after a modal. The verb after a modal should always stay in the past verb. So remember these 3 common mistakes. The first, don't use to after a modal verb. Second, don't use 2 modals in one sentence. The third, don't use modal verbs with ing or in the wrong tense. Fixing these mistakes will make your English more natural and correct. Here are modal verbs exercises. You need to complete these sentences by using correct modal verb based on the meaning in brackets. Are you ready? Okay, this is part 1. Number 1, I speak 3 languages. Okay, we have ability expression in brackets. So what do we put to show expression of ability? Yeah, we use modal verb can to show ability. Next, number 2, you finish your homework before watching TV. Okay, this is advice. So what is the best modal verb that we must use here? Yeah, we use should. This is advice. You should finish your homework before watching TV. And number 3, he be at home. I saw his car outside. Okay, this is strong possibility. What is the past modal verb that we use here? Yeah, for strong possibility, we write must, modal verb must be. He must be at home. I saw his car outside. Next, number 4, you smoke here. It's a no smoking area. Okay, this is prohibition. What the correct modal verb for number 4? Yeah, we use must not. You must not smoke here. Okay, number 5. We blah blah leave now if we want to catch the train. This is necessity. Okay, so what do we put here? The answer is have to. We have to leave now if we want to catch the train. Next part, rewrite the sentences using a suitable modal verb. Number 1, it is necessary for me to wear a uniform. What do we put here to say I wear a uniform? Okay, this is necessity expression. Okay, we can use have to. I have to wear a uniform. Uniform. Number 2, I suggest you see a doctor. You see a doctor. What do we put here? Okay, this is advice, right? So for advice expression, we say you should see a doctor. Okay. Number 3, it's possible that she's sleeping. She be sleeping. What do we put for this expression? This is possibility expression. Okay, to express possibility, we use must or might. Yeah, I'm sorry. We say might for possibility. She might be sleeping. Number 4, I was able to climb a tree when I was younger. Or we can say, I climbed the tree when I was a kid. What do we put here? This is past ability. So we can say could here. I could climb the tree when I was a kid. Before we end, let's do a short practice exercise together. I will say a sentence out loud and you try to guess the correct modal verb to complete it. Ready? Let's begin. Number 1. I borrow your pen. Think, what modal do we use for permission? Okay, the correct answer is may. We can use may. And we also can use can. May I borrow your pen? Or can I borrow your pen? Okay, look at sentence 2. You study harder for the test. What modal gives advice? Okay, the answer is should. You should study harder for the test. Okay, next sentence 3. I swim when I was little. Which modal shows past ability? Yes, you are correct. The answer is could. I could swim when I was little. Okay, number 4. We blah 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 go to the beach tomorrow. Okay, which modal shows possibility? Okay, the correct answer is might. We might go to the beach tomorrow. Next, sentence 5. You not smoke here. Which modal shows prohibition strong or rule? Okay, the correct answer is must. You must not smoke here. Good job. Practicing like this helps you remember which modal verb fits best based on meaning, on context. Try making your own practice sentences and saying them out loud. It really helps build confidence. Now, let's move to the closing part of the presentation. Alright, that brings us to the end of this presentation about modal verbs in English. Let's quickly review what we have learned today. We explored the functions and meanings of modal verbs. We looked at the rules for forming positive, negative, and question sentences. We talked about some special grammar tips and how to express the past using modal plus have plus past participle. We reviewed the common mistakes to avoid. And finally, we practiced choosing the right modal verb through some quick exercises. Modal verbs may seem simple, but they are extremely powerful. They help us express permission, possibility, ability, advice, obligation, and more, all with just one word. I hope this presentation has helped you feel more confident in using modal verbs correctly and naturally. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me. Good luck with your English journey and see you next time. Bye.